A very big year indeed for Michael Watson. At 25, he feels this is the time for him to make a major impact on the world scene. And this is a very important fight for him. If things go wrong here tonight, a lot of plans go right out of the window into the cold Essex air. And Watson, a fellow who tends to find his way gently into fights, tends to look at opponents and then adapt his style, might just have a quick finish on his mind here. Craig Trotter has really never met a fellow of Watson's caliber before, and Watson wants to make that extra class pay very quickly. He's had a few managerial disputes outside the ring, Michael Watson. He assures me his brain is clear. He's never felt so sharp. He also says emphatically he has no trouble making the 11-6 limit, and he's weighed in bang on that 11-6 limit this morning. Watson, since that Nigel Benn fight, when you'd expected the big purses to have come his way, well, Benn has gone on to a world title and Watson's career has stagnated really, and I know he feels that very deeply. Good shot from Watson. Trotter wobbles in the first. Jim, what do you make of it so far?
Yeah, Watson is looking very strong and very sharp in the first few seconds of this one. He really looks as though he wants to impress. Watson is an excellent defensive boxer. He doesn't really like having to go looking for opponents, but Trotter in the first round looks very slippery, quite fast on his feet. I don't think he wants to stand around and trade with Watson. Watson, as you said, looks so much bigger and so much stronger. So I think he's going to have to pin this little fellow down, maybe take a couple of rounds.
You're right in what you say there. I know the Watson camp had great respect for the mobility of Craig Trotter. They've watched him on tape and they know he's an elusive fighter, got a good pair of legs, as they say in the trade. But Watson, for me, just carries a lot more power. And although it's perhaps not the sort of fight that Watson positively enjoys, remember the great counter-punching fight he fought against Nigel Benn, he knows that it's expected that he wants to win here and wants to win well.
See, I've always felt a little bit sorry for Watson that when his world chance came, it was against Mike McCallum, because he was the similar type of boxer to Watson, but Watson was the one who had to try and go and take the title. It wasn't his kind of fight, and he put up a fantastic show, but he never really got his act on the road. This obviously a class below that, at least a class below that. But Watson looks to have shaken off the effects of the McCallum fight. He looks really hungry again, in good shape, and has really started positively.
And the pattern here is pretty obvious. Trotter is on his bike, and it's going to be up to Watson to nail him. Good first round for Michael Watson as he settles in his corner. Yeah, just a couple of defeats for Michael Watson, an early one in his career by James Cook, and that fight by Mike McCallum, who perhaps the Watson camp felt was over the hill and going down, but McCallum proved at the Albert Hall on that fabulous night that he's a great champion. Well, the fourth round, and I think a lot of experts expected Watson to end this fight round about between the fourth and the sixth, and the fight has gone his way up to now, but Trotter has obviously got himself in great shape for this one. It's a big chance for him. He's never campaigned in this class, and he's never fought a fighter of Watson's capabilities. And although he's getting through, and I think that was his dad behind me who's over here who said, "That's it, Craig, absolutely lovely." He's not hurt Watson so far. Do you think he's really got the power to hurt him, Jim?
It's difficult to say. I wouldn't imagine that he has the power to knock Watson over, but he seems to get leverage into his punches. He's not a powder puff puncher, good stiff little puncher. But the main problem for Watson is trying to pin him down. I think some more of those body shots we've been seeing would maybe take some of the steam out of his legs, but the fellow is very quick on his feet, difficult to pin down. And It's pointless Watson throwing the big guns until he's sure the punches are going to land.
Oh, Watson, one of the great counter punchers, of course. Very much the aggressor, and he wants Trotter, I think, to come to him a bit. Trotter has certainly been hopping around the ring for most of the fight.
I think as he stalks Trotter, he should be showing a little feint to try to draw a lead from his man, because he's a far better counter puncher than he is an attacking fighter, Watson. So if he would stalk him, show a little feint and try to draw the first move from Trotter, then maybe he could break up his rhythm a bit easier.
Just a bit of blood trickling from Trotter's nose. And the big difference for me in this fight is that Trotter's landed and his punches haven't hurt, but whenever Watson gets through, well, Trotter's frame shakes and he gets hurt. But Watson's still defending so well as Trotter launched a little counter-attack there as the pace of this round picks up. Little warning from ref Larry O'Connell about the heads banging together. Watson just gesturing that he wants Trotter to come to him, but I think he's going to have to hunt him down.
One or two signs, Trotter a bit more ragged in this round. I think the pressure is beginning to tell on him now. Watson's getting that little bit closer, looking a lot more confident. Watson, there's a real confidence about his work now. He's just walking after him, stalking him, and the punches are now beginning to get home.
Good round for the champion, for Michael Watson, who is just beginning really to get his rhythm going now. Tied up right above us. He's such a good professional, Michael Watson. He's a great listener in those corners. In the minute between the rounds, he's nominated a fight for that European Championship, the vacant European Championship, nominated a fight Stevie Collins, and then he wants none or even Chris Eubank. But Craig Trotter still stands in his way, and although the pace has picked up much to Watson's advantage.
Yeah, Watson really looked world class in the fourth round here. He really got to his opponent.
He's just getting that bit closer, and he will be looking for something very special now, Michael Watson, and I think he's got it in his power to deliver just that.
Seconds out. Round 5.
Coming out for the fifth round. 12 the distance, of course, in this Commonwealth middleweight title fight. And Michael Watson, who has tended to begin his fight slowly, where he began this one pretty sharply. He realised that the challenger, the Australian Craig Trotter, is a decent boxing brain, and more importantly than that, some very good legs on him as well. But he's gradually cut off the ring, he's gradually slowed him down, and now he's getting to him. Important couple of rounds this now, Jim.
Yeah, well, we've now reached the stage where Trotter's going to have to start throwing punches back if he wants to stay in the fight. Some good evasive boxing, some good work on his feet, keeping himself out of trouble. But if Trotter wants to win the title, which is what he's here for, he's going to have to throw punches back. He started doing that, and he's coming off second best.
And as soon as really Trotter switched tactics, the master counter-puncher Watson caught him. Might just be a hint of desperation from the Aussie now that he knows he's got to go forward to have any chance of landing the title. And the more he comes forward, the more it suits Watson. Remember Nigel Benn in the circus tent. Trotter did get through with a right hand there, but Watson took it and fired back a couple of his own. Another big right hand from Watson on a good left hook too, and Trotter wobbling in the fifth. Game fella, the Australian, coming back and leaning on to Watson though. What a game effort, and appreciated by this sporting crowd. They're loving this one now.
See, Trotter's feet are planted now, Jim. He doesn't have the same mobility he had earlier. Now I think the power and the weight of Watson's work beginning to tell on him. As I say, his feet are planted, and I really reckon he's going to come off second best in this type of fight.
Minute to go in what's been an outstanding fifth round, and back comes Trotter so strongly, working well inside, but gets punished for it. Or did his leg go there? Well, Watson's got about 45 seconds here in the 5th, and Trotter just ties him up.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Trotter's chin, nothing wrong with his heart, because he took a couple of real shocking right-hand punches there, took them well, and he still looks in good shape. But the fight beginning, this now is the kind of action that Watson enjoys.
Well, that fight against Nigel Benn was outstandingly the fight of the year. This one hasn't quite reached those peaks of excitement, but it's nevertheless been a fine performance from Michael Watson. Good shot there again from Watson off the ropes, and again for the 3rd time in this round. Trotter's legs surely wobbled. And another right hand from Watson, who's, well, just getting more and more confident now. Great round from Michael Watson, and at the end of it, Craig Trotter nodded in recognition as if to say, you're some fighter. And indeed, they've always accepted that, and the crowd here on their feet really enjoying this one. That was an exceptional round, and they must be looking very closely into Craig Trotter's eyes, the 22-year-old. He hasn't operated in this sort of class before, and he's looking pretty tired. Just looking at referee Larry O'Connell above me, he's glancing towards Trotter's corner as we look at a bit of slow-mo, Jim. Yeah,
without doubt the best round of the fight. Watson landed a couple of real solid right-hand shots. Trotter took them well, but they must have taken their toll on him.
Well, he's a bit slow coming out of his corner, Craig Trotter, for the 6th. We wonder, and the towel's in. The towel has come in. Well, it's all over. We did wonder whether Trotter wanted a much more. He obviously did, but his compassionate corner felt that after that thrilling 5th round, he'd taken enough. And I personally can't argue with that, Jim, because occasionally we see people that let fighters go on too long, and Watson was really busting him up in the 5th.
Yeah, well, all the spring had left Trotter's legs. The fight was beginning to go away from him. I do think maybe a paying public expect a little bit more heroics from fighters. I mean, boxing, you got to be a hero to go in there, so I think we expect a little more heroics from Trotter. He didn't produce them. I think he realised that Watson was the better man, but I would have liked him maybe to have at least one more round to try and turn the tide.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's Michael Watson's Commonwealth title retained. Next, it's the European, and after that, the world.
Michael, while you were waiting there in the corner in between rounds, I have to tell you that Craig Trotter was really distressed between rounds, so they had to you had to throw the towel in.
I trained so hard for this fight. You know, these Australians, I don't know where they're all creeping out from, but they're certainly tough, really.
You always start slowly, but were you satisfied with your performance?
I was satisfied with my performance. I only went 3 rounds with Errol Christie. What I need at this stage is to be more active.
Well, you're getting caught behind all the sort of euphoria of the middleweights, despite your wonderful performance against Ben. So where do you see your immediate future?
Well, I've just found that I've been nominated against Steve Collins to fight for the European Championship.
Do you think Steve Collins, who's based in America, will go for that?
I don't see why not. As long as the purse is right, I don't see why not.
But what about the big ones like Ben or Eubank? What's going to happen there, do you think?
My intention is to clear out the middleweights, starting with Chris Eubanks. You know, I think Chris Eubanks has got a serious problem, and that's a problem of fair. You know,
a problem of?
It's fair.
Yeah.
You know, the prospects of facing him in the future is very bright. I want to send a message to Chris Eubanks. Chris Eubanks, your time is limited.